can have few of these options we are already practicing, but there are many more which we can consider. Then government's intervention and initiatives and the instruments that government can contribute for this effective mitigation of solid waste. And then my area, plastic upcycling, new techniques in plastic upcycling for circular economy. Next slide, please. So we have, when we talk about solid waste, we have generation, storage, collection, transportation. But we start reducing solid waste right from the design phase of a product. So while designing a product, we should put those features that this product is efficient and it can be recycled or reused. So there are various steps: reduction in the consumption of various materials, reuse, recycling, composting, energy recovery, and then the residue that we have from all these steps or from all these filters. We can think about landfilling and some other ways for getting some gases or some RDFs from. So we identify the type of waste, its composition, source, level of hazardousness, whether it is hazardous waste or we can treat it with the conventional methods. So identifying safe transportation and treatment methods, these are crucial. Next slide, please. So broadly speaking, when we talk about sources of municipal solid waste, we have industrial, urban, rural, and further these can be categorized generally medical centers, food stores. So we have commercial, institutional service, hotels, and school, colleges, universities. Construction sector is another source of waste, and then special waste. And then we have residential waste, household waste. And another category is, these are based on general composition difference of when we talk about solid waste. Next slide, please. If we see the global composition, so food and green, it dominates with 44%, then paper, plastics. Others are there, textile and construction waste, e-waste. And South Asian composition is close to this, bit higher in organics, 57% as compared to 44%. And plastics, we have globally 12%, but when we talk about South Asian countries, we have 8% plastics, paper 10%. So from each source and from each locality, after identification of the source of the waste, next step is getting the composition, what is in it. And because the mitigation strategy would depend on the composition. Next slide, please. Yes, a trend is there. Lower income countries, middle income countries, we have different habits, different consumption. So source, if you see, composition and consumption is different for, we can categorize based on the income level of the countries as well. Next slide, please. So there are various ways. Next slide, please. What we have in Pakistan is a recent study in 2022 from ADB. They have categorized in large cities, medium-sized cities, and rural communities. And kg per capita per day, you can see higher in large cities, 0.55, but much lesser as compared to developed countries. So we are not producing as much gas waste that they are producing, but due to poor mitigation and treatment, we have visible waste around us. So composition is very interesting. City-wise it is given there, and we can see kitchen green waste, it dominates. When you talk about mixed waste, municipal mixed waste from various sources. And if you see Lahore, for example, 56% is kitchen green, then 3.2% paper, textile, 9-10%, plastics, 11%. So these are the major components of, if we say big cities, waste composition. Next slide. So generally speaking, what is a road to a sustainable development? Thinking about solid waste, strong policies from government side, people awareness, massive awareness, efficient waste collection and segregation. These are the missing points here. We don't have efficient segregation at the source, and also once we have collected the waste, then recycling and reuse, and then putting all these together into the circular economy. Next slide. What treatment options do we have? We have conventional and non-conventional options. So we collect and segregate, and then we consider conventional and non-conventional options. Aerobic digestion, composting, landfill, incineration, these are conventional, and gasification, getting synthesis gas out of it, then pyrolysis, and then liquefaction, getting some high energy fuels directly from the waste. So these are non-conventional options, and coupling these non-conventional options with the upcycling of plastic, then this waste becomes a valuable source, a source of income, source of economy booster, like this. Yes. Next slide. Again, these techniques and the final products that we can get electricity, heat, we can get fertilizer from composting of the waste through these different processes. Next slide, please. So there are multiple criteria to choose the technology. So this table is very interesting. Row-wise we have different criteria, and columns show different techniques that we have. So starting with the technology status, types of solid waste, appropriate scale. Next slide. Condition of success, how much we can expect the success rate while implementing these technologies here. Final products, capital investment. So everything is being covered here. So initially we can select based on the funds or the money in hand, source of the waste, composition, and many other things. We can select what we can do. We can select multiple options as well. Next slide, please. Potential adverse effect effects are given: contribution to energy security, contribution to food security. So there are few methods available. Those add to the food security, because we can get fertilizer from composting of organic waste. So we add to the food security indirectly. Yes. A characteristic of solid waste treatment, inherent characteristics of anaerobic composting, landfilling, incineration, gasification, and pyrolysis. So conventional and non-conventional techniques that we may consider. What are the key characteristics? So volume reduction wise, energy recovery, you can see incineration, gasification, and pyrolysis. These are not common in our system. These give us the maximum volume reduction of the solid waste. Similarly, when we talk about energy recovery, again pyrolysis and gasification, these are on higher side in kilojoules per ton of metal of solid waste. Then we also consider environmental impact. Look at the pyrolysis with the low environmental impact, because it's a closed technology, we can control it. Then waste to material, rechargeability. So very characteristics are there, inherent characteristics of each conventional and non-conventional process that we can, again, we can see for implementation. Solid waste management systems for differently income countries. Again, very interesting data. Where do we lie and what can we get out of it? क्या हम अपने जैसे मुल्क से benchmark कर सकते हैं? So we categorize high income country, middle, and definitely, if I'm not wrong, we lie under this low income country. So what options do we have? What instruments do we have? Solid waste composition, typical is there, techniques we can choose. What are we doing? Yes, definitely we are openly dumping these waste in our lands, open areas. There are very few controlled landfills. Composting is very rare. But if we compare, if we compare with what do we have in high-income countries, developed countries, we have recycling, landfilling, incineration, composting, gasification, and pyrolysis. The complete spectrum of these techniques. Next slide, please. Stakeholders, the government initiatives for efficient, again, policy, public-private partnership, levies, penalties, taxes, certificate of appreciation. So there are many instruments through which government can intervene into this system of solid waste collection, segregation, and treatment. I may have 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you. Approaches are there. Next slide, please. So again, economic instruments, various revenue generation, revenue provide, non-revenue. We can go through these. And yes, next slide. Upcycling of plastics. Next slide, please. These are some plastic trade statistics of 2021. We are using 1.65 million ton around annually plastic in country. That costs us 1.57. This is import data. Billion US dollars. Interestingly, we are importing also 198 million US dollar finished products of plastic from other countries. And while we see, compare with the exports, we are exporting only 226 million US dollars raw material, and comparing with 84 million US dollar finished goods, finished products to other countries. So this is what we have in solid, in plastic waste. Then circular economy. Again, the essential part is production of only essential plastics and redesign plastic production. We need to think about this while designing plastics and while generating the need of using especially plastic products in our society. It should not be uncontrolled. Packaging, everything in plastic packaging. There should be some consideration. Redesigning and spotting the essential needs where it is needed. Yes, next slide, please. Various techniques are available to convert plastic waste, for example, in carbon nanotubes. These techniques are not very complicated, not very expensive, but commercialization is a big challenge for world even. But we can start thinking in our laboratories, on pilot scales, on lab scales. These are very promising techniques getting. Dr. Bukhari was discussing, so from PET plastic waste, from biological valorization, we can get perfumes, flavors, animal feeds. So hydrolysis can give us some biological stream of these products. Yes, next slide, please. Conventional emerging strategies. Our department is working on this. Compatibilization. We get plastic, various plastics, and we chemically compatibilize those and get new material. And this is very interesting, even for the industry. Yes. Again, upcycling through catalytic degradation. We can see energy recoveries. There are various options are available. These might appear very complicated, but in nature, especially for us, for scientific community, these are very conventional techniques. We have been using those techniques for other syntheses and processes. Just we need to think about applying those techniques into plastic waste. Next, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for a nice talk. I now hand over to Professor Dr. Kamal Abini Saiba. She is the Vice Chancellor at University of Economics in Lahore.
I think we are already running late. मैं कोई ज़्यादा बात नहीं करना चाहती हूँ, ना मैं कोई साइंसदान बड़ी